They could hear the men screaming in the water.
Oh my God.
Who's here?
Open doors to the unknown.
I'm really panicky. What's up?
At your own risk.
Let's get ourselves out of here. Go. Don't want to be done. Get outside, quick. Help!
Ghost Chasers. Find out more on insight.tv.
My name is Paul Hobday. I'm a paranormal investigator with Team Impact, alongside Chris, and also one of the investigators on the brand new paranormal TV show Ghost Chasers, which is out soon. To find out more about my experience as a paranormal investigator, visit my website www.paulhobday.com.
My name is Chris Howley. I'm a paranormal investigator with Team Impact. I've been investigating the subject since 2004, and if you want to read about some of my experiences, you can find me at www.chrishowley.com. Brains behind Ghost Chasers, that's got to be Richard Wolfe, the executive producer.
Yes, Rich is known as Mr. Paranormal in the TV industry. He's behind shows like Most Haunted, Living with Dead, and various other paranormal shows.
The main difference with Ghost Chasers to other paranormal TV shows is we didn't film in night vision, so you haven't got the green screen to look at. It was filmed in Ultra 4K.
Ultra 4K, everything was either natural light, candlelight, torchlight, exactly as people would report seeing a ghost, not in the typical night vision that's been done to death, to be honest.
Yeah, the other main difference, we were very lucky in having the use of Steve Robson, excellent cameraman, and his cinematic approach to filming the show I think has really paid off. Although we were ghost hunting or doing paranormal investigations, the way Steve's managed to film that is really excellent, so hope you will enjoy the style.
Throughout the series we visited 20 locations, 2 locations per episode, and 10 episodes.
Yeah, we started in England and worked our way down through mainland Europe, so quite an exciting road trip.
And most of them were virgin locations that hadn't ever been investigated before. Biggest scaredy cat in the team, Kai.
Yeah, definitely Kai. Kai Nambiar, he's our presenter, and he'd never been on a ghost hunt before, and he was scared.
To start with, yeah, he was scared of his own shadow and jumping at absolutely everything, but credit to him, towards the end he was investigating and running after the noises and the apparitions just in the same way we would.
Yeah, still it was.
Yeah.
We had 4 of us in our team. There was Kai Nambiar, the presenter, and myself and Paul were the paranormal investigators, and we had Ian Lawman as our psychic medium.
So that was the on-screen team. Then behind the scenes we also had Steve, the cameraman, and we did utilise him through the investigation because he was using a 4K camera, a very, very expensive piece of equipment. He could see a lot more than we could in a lot of the locations. We also had Tim, the soundman. Again, we used him and his equipment. If there was a sound, we could ask him to amplify what he was listening to through his boom mic and also play it back to us as well. And then we had Kilo, who was an assistant camera operator and data wrangler, and Dan, the director. So a very small team. Our views on the paranormal do differ in slightly. I think generally the whole concept is the same, but I'm very much a skeptic, and I'll say now I'm not a cynic. There is a difference. So a cynic will dismiss everything. I'm a skeptic, which means that I'm open-minded to it, but I want that evidence, that proof to decide either way.
Yeah, I think the main difference between myself and Paul, I'm also a skeptic. I am after proof, but I've had personal experiences, which isn't proof. I've actually seen 5 ghosts, so I think that's where our perceptions are different. Paul unfortunately hasn't seen a ghost, where I have had that experience. I can't prove to Paul they exist because it's personal experience, but I think that's where we approach it slightly from a different angle.
I think so, but both of us will question absolutely everything, too far sometimes, but we will question it all, and we have very long debates in person and over the phone on a regular basis about it.
We were really lucky with some of the activity we got during the filming of Ghost Chasers. I think we were surprised ourselves, weren't we?
We were. The activity we got, and we weren't at the locations that long either, so to have got some form of activity recorded, audio and visual, was quite remarkable. And there was things that happened on Ghost Chasers that made me question my skepticism. Favourite locations? For me, it's got to be Burger Reichenstein in Germany. It's a 1,000-year-old castle, and it's one of those where there was a total wow factor. As soon as you walk through the door, it's like you're walking into that time period. Everything's been left exactly as it was. All the furniture, the wall coverings, everything is still there. And we were lucky enough to actually stay on site for a couple of nights there, so we spent quite a lot of time in that castle. That is somewhere that I'm definitely going to go back to.
Yeah, I mean, I won't repeat that as a favourite, but Burger Reichenstein was a fantastic location. I think my favourite though has to be the Citadel tunnels in Namur.
Oh, good choice.
In Belgium. I mean, Napoleonic tunnels that stretch for 3 or 4 kilometres underground. That was quite a spooky location. So as a location, I think that was my favourite. Yeah.
Did we get scared? I think there was times when we were unnerved, apprehensive, and once that springs to mind where I would say we definitely got scared.
Yeah, apprehensive a lot of times. Scared. Yeah, we were really scared.
Yeah, actually, we were terrified.
Yeah.
And I will say that we did actually run out of the location.
You will. Yeah, we won't give too much away. On one of the episodes, you will see all 4 of us running and screaming. But we did go back.
I don't know if it's made it into the show or not, but we did actually run straight back in again to investigate what it was that caused us to run. There's certainly locations where I would be apprehensive to be locked in overnight by myself. I would do it, but I wouldn't be happy about it. In particular, the tunnels at Namur, the Citadel. Deep underground, dark, damp, dripping with water. You've got spiders all over the place. And that was the place where something terrified us to the point of running out of there. I agree. Namur, I don't think I could spend a night there on my own. But I think the one for me it would be Dornenberg Castle, the dungeon there. But you're going to have to wait till episode 9 to find out why. I'd like to think that in our lifetime we will find scientific proof or evidence for the existence of ghosts, but I'll be honest, I'm doubtful. People have been researching this for many, many years now, and even back to the sort of 1800s and before. You had eminent scientists, doctors, key figures in society investigating this phenomena, and no one yet has got to the bottom of what it is.
Yeah, I agree. But I think the problem we've got is you need a proven methodology to show that ghosts exist. And the problem you've got with that is you're investigating something that's already been witnessed by somebody else, and the chances are you can go back and try and recreate that event, but it doesn't happen, does it? So you're trying to investigate something that's already been witnessed. That's unlikely to happen again. That's what we're up against. So it's getting a methodology to investigate the paranormal that will satisfy science. So we need to sort of reevaluate how we investigate.
That's it. Science doesn't mean using lots of flashy gadgets, which is what a lot of teams claim to be. They'll say they're scientific because they've got the latest EMF meter or whatever. That's not scientific. Scientific is a methodology, a way of analysing what's being experienced. But when it's spontaneous experiences, as Chris said, it's pretty much impossible to use that scientific method because you're always looking at the past.
Yeah.
So we really need to review that and find a different way of trying to get that evidence. Going into this series as the skeptic of the group, I've got to say it did change my opinion of the paranormal. I think leading up to the filming of this show, we'd been on this journey where we hadn't had anything really significant happen for quite a long time, and through all the studying and research of the parapsychology element of it, I think we're getting to the stage of going past sceptical to almost cynical and dismissing things.
Yeah.
But this changed that.
Yeah, I think, well, prior to the show, me and Paul were sort of re-evaluating Team Impact, our group anyway, weren't we? And like I said, we were both studying, taking exams, becoming affiliated with the NRPI.
Yeah.
That's the National Register of Professional Investigators, if anyone hasn't heard of that. But we sort of got to a stage where we we were going to push the group forward, expand the team, and move on with our own investigation, which we hadn't managed to get out on for quite a couple of years.
Yes.
And the show sort of put that on hold and got us back in the field and gave us 20 investigations to do, which reignited our passion, I suppose.
It was 21 after the other as well. There wasn't much of a gap between them, sometimes back to back for a few days at a time. And during that time, over those investigations, there were things that happened that genuinely, even with all the research and studying and training we've done, we've got no rational explanation for.
I think Paranormal TV over the last 15 years has been good, and especially initially. I think we'll all agree it was Most Haunted that started it all off. Again, the series devised by our producer Richard Wolfe, and the first 2 series where he was involved I thought were excellent. It certainly got my interest up and got me out on my first commercial ghost hunt, which led to where we are today.
That's it, yeah. And I'd agree, it's been good in that sense, but also it's not really moved on since then either. It's stagnated. All the shows that are coming out though, even the American shows, they're still following that same original Most Haunted format. They're still filming in night vision or maybe full spectrum, which isn't really much different. They're still following the same sort of structure to the show. Nothing's changed, even with all these countless shows being produced now. So I think it needs to move on. We need to look at it differently, look at what they can do that is completely different to what's been done so far. And I think Ghost Chasers is a step towards that. Psychics and mediums. Well, I've got to say that going into this, I was very dubious about psychics and mediums. I've met lots and lots over the years. Not one of them has ever given me an accurate reading, and I've seen them using false information off of the internet, and even faking activity on investigations, which has been caught on camera. I won't name the medium now, or mediums. However, there has been one or two who have impressed me over the years. And going into this, I stayed open-minded in terms of Ian. I hadn't met him before this, I know you had. Yeah. But I've got to say, and I'll say this for the record, that I was genuinely impressed with the abilities of Ian Lawman. I don't know how he did it, I don't know what was going on, but he was able to obtain information that he had no prior knowledge of.
I mean, for myself, I was sceptical of mediumship for many years. I always used to think it was cold reading, but rather than just dismiss it, I enrolled on a mediumship circle, which I sat in circle for 12 months as a developing medium. I'm not a medium, but I did have experiences during that year that I cannot explain. I believe there is something there that we can't yet explain, and I agree with Paul. Ian was quite phenomenal on the show with some of the information he managed to give us that he shouldn't have known. So I think there is something there to be looked at.
And we were monitoring very closely in terms of what information he was getting and how he was doing it. And a lot of things were going on behind the scenes as well that wouldn't have been seen on the show. Information he was picking up in the hotels we were staying in, things that happened to him at night, things he had no reason to be talking about, but he was, and they were accurate. Even if something happened in the hotel we were staying in, we would investigate that, and again, he was accurate with it.
Yeah, I did witness. I was walking around a location in Bruges, and one of the staff there actually came up to Ian, and knew she was a medium, and said, "Do you do private readings?" And he said, "Yes, I do," and immediately gave her a reading without her asking, and the information he gave her was completely accurate. He'd never met this woman before, and she was blown away, and I was just amazed at how anybody could do that, go up to a complete stranger, give them information that was completely correct about, well, I won't go into what the information was, but again, blown away. That won't be seen on camera, because that was behind the scenes, which he did out of the kindness of his heart. Amazing.
I think there's a place for psychics and mediums on investigations. I don't think they should be discounted. I think they can bring something to it, but there needs to be control over how they are used. As I said, I've seen psychics and mediums who have falsely obtained information and faked activity and claim to be getting in contact with beings which they're just making up or they've read online. I think there needs to be that control over how they're being used, so that there's some sort of testing of their ability, and then once you've worked out they have got some form of ability, test further to work out what that is, because if they're getting information from a location, for example, or a person, doesn't mean they're speaking to the spirit of a dead person. Are they getting that through some form of telepathy or precognition or some other psychic ability? We can't just categorise it without testing it.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should use psychics and mediums. I mean, just like we can't disprove or prove the existence of ghosts or spirits, likewise we can't prove or disprove this ability that these psychics claim to have. So it's all part of the paranormal investigation, I think.
That's it. If they're genuinely getting this information from somewhere, I think we need to be testing how they're doing it, where they're getting this information from. I can say straight away that I've never knowingly seen a ghost, and I think that's probably why I'm still sort of on the very sceptical side of things, but I know you've had more experiences than the average person.
Yeah, I've seen 5 ghosts, but I'm in the lucky position I work at Woodchester Mansion, and have done for many years, so I've seen 5 in that location. Interestingly, I was talking to Steve Parsons, renowned parapsychologist, only a few weeks ago. He's seen 3 in another location that he works, so we were sort of talking about the number of times we spend in these buildings, and we've worked out a figure that you need to be in a location 125 times to see a ghost. So quite a fair bit, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've done way more than 125 investigations and still not seen a ghost.
Hasn't worked for you? No.
No, I'm just going to the wrong locations.
There we go. Paranormal tourism. I don't think there's effective research. I think paranormal tourism is something you get into more for the scare factor. If you go on a ghost hunt, I think if you've got a genuine interest for the paranormal, then you would want to take that interest further and go more to the investigation side. But that's where you join up with either another smaller group or you start up your own company.
I think so. I think there is a place for the tourism, the event companies out there, and that's how we started and how a lot of people start. But again, just like some of the other areas we've discussed, there needs to be control over it. I did quite a bit of research on this for a talk I did for an ASAP seminar at Aston University. And certainly from my experience and from the research I've done, there's a lot of dubious activities being undertaken. Customers are paying £70, £80 a night sometimes over £100. And some event companies and some investigators are using psychological trickery knowingly. They're faking activity. They're basically conning those people out of their money. So either they need to be honest about it being a scare event, an entertainment event, and in which case go ahead, do whatever you like, or they need to stop doing that and actually take it a bit more seriously and respect their customers who are going there looking for genuine evidence of the paranormal, not trying to convince them that there's life after death when all they're doing is using a bit of psychological trickery. There's so many places in the world I'd love to investigate. I think closer to home ones, the catacombs in Paris, I'd love to visit there. I know you've been there, but I'd love to investigate those. And also the Tower of London as well. 2 places that would be very difficult to get into, but I'd love to investigate. Yeah,
I'd like to go to America. Area 51 has always been an interest for the UFO sightings, and moving on down through ghost hunting at Alcatraz, and then on down to Chile for some of their ancient mysteries, and also their recent UFO study. Yeah.
So Chile is one of the few countries where the government are open about their UFO investigations, and there was a recent case that they've publicised after a 2-year investigation by their military, which is well worth looking up online.
During filming of the show, we had plenty of funny moments. I think it was
Lots of pranks.
Yeah, pranking off camera. There's quite a lot of downtime when you're filming the show. So Kilo, who was very often locked away in one of these haunted locations in a room on his own, taking data off memory cards all night, we used to go and creep up on him quite a lot, and jumping out on Ian Lawman, although he did get us back a few times.
Yeah, and having a very small, almost like hidden cameras helped with our pranking abilities too, because we got a lot of this on camera.
Yeah.
Ghost Chasers launches on the 3rd of March 2017 on the Sky HD channel Insight, which is in the documentary section on Sky, channel number 564.
And you can also watch the show on their website, which is insight.tv.
It's being broadcast as well as in the UK, across Europe as well. We haven't got time for it yet on that launch date, but it's going to be after the 9 o'clock watershed due to the language used by a certain team member.
I apologise for that now, but I hope you enjoy the show.